Joe Wicks, and I've teamed up with Dougie to help you keep fit and...
Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon listeners, it's me Sulaiman Ben Sware. If you give me a minute before we start this program, let me share this on my page and the program can start. Assalamu alaikum, thank you very much. Good afternoon. It's me, Sulaiman Ben Sware, coming back on Facebook Live. Today is Monday, the 4th of October 2021. The time is just gone about 20 minutes past 4, or 2, sorry. 20 minutes past 2 in Birmingham. And the program is to reduce the outrage of the corruption and the disregard of rule of law, the failure of rule of law. And the reason for this program, I was not meant to be on now, today actually, but there's a lot of things been going on. High corruption to a level, the high corruption to a level that we all know is the executive, the president and the cabinet themselves, and the people around him who are involved. And this level of corruption, the impact it has on our sovereignty, the impact it will have in our country. But the outrage more too is about a video from the hospital, from a clinic in Bundung, the Bundung clinic. And the outrage again is the corruption at the FIFA, I mean the football association. The issue about land being taken away from the tourism development area, from the reserve land, and land about Jinak. These are high level of corruption. But this morning, I was watching Flex Dan cover a program on the former anti-crime premises, which is owned by Global Home and Medical Mission. And the outrage is here that the government itself, the law enforcement itself, the IGP itself, decided to break the law when these people have everything. This is their property. It's been ascertained, through many processes, but finally to the courts who have the right or the final decision to take on disputes, and they have their rights to occupy their property. And still now the police is interfering. We know that the police are not interfering for themselves, because they vacated the premises. They're interfering for who? The executive. because they have an executive directive. I'll get to each one of these in brief, because we don't have time and there's so many. I cannot just leave to mention any of these main topics. But to start with, the failure of rule of law. And next minute we go and blame the youths disrespecting the police or disrespecting the rule of law, when the executive himself disrespect our courts, disrespect the rule of law, when the police themselves will go out there and disrespect the justice system. What do we expect as a nation? What do we expect as a nation? When we talk about democracy, we talk of rule of law. When we talk about justice, we talk about rule of law. If rule of law is disregarded by the executive, it's not a dictatorship. What's the difference here? How can an executive directive be against a rule of law? The level of corruption. We talk about the crime in the streets. We don't want to accept the level of corruption in that country. The failure of the executive to prosecute or do anything, because they are the actors. They are the main actors of corruption. But no, my other outrage is the opposition. My other outrage is the opposition. They are going around doing their meetings and everything. Not one single of them, I'm not leaving any opposition out here, is addressing these problems. They are sidestepping these problems, going on talking about other things rather than approach them. The land issues, you just don't talk about them. Just mention them. It should be taken seriously. The corruption, the medical problems, the failure of the healthcare system. And if we look at each of these, are given to foreigners. Are given to foreigners, cowboy operators. It's nothing for national development. Let me start with the premise this morning. What course brought me out to speak, but I'm going to speak about other things that have been boiling and we've been discussing and so on. But let me start with the first one. This is the premises in Bijilo, owned by Global Home Medical Mission. I remember seeing this project online, how this project was built, and it was in operational. This was a medical facility in operation with I believe what I saw, with highly qualified medical practitioners. I think some of them were from South Korea or something like that. It was a medical mission, delivering, helping our healthcare system. That facility was taken over by the dictator around 2010. For no obvious reason. We all know he doesn't need any reason to do those things. It was a dictatorship. He took over the facility, not to be run as a hospital or anything else. But they took over, they took all the properties, all the equipments from there, God knows where it is. Apparently, what the claim is, the owners of the premises said that the equipments were valued at $1.5 million. They did not have access to that, the dictator took that. And turned it to what? A torture chamber. The Green Boys were stationed there. We all had in the TRRC what went there. Later, it turns, when this government came, they still maintain someone else's property. How can government occupy a property without doing the due diligence to ensure that the property is grounded? They own the property or have the right to the property or to make sure they have a right to the property. No, they just went and took over the property. The owners of the property make a claim to the property. They got their lease. This was one of the properties that the dictator did not even remember to change the lease to himself. That's why the property, the process have never been dealt with. The property have never been dealt with in the Janneh Commission. It had been mentioned, but never dealt with, because it was not under investigation, because it was not owned by or claimed to be owned by the dictator. These people still own their own property. their own property. They have legal documents. They did everything right. They pay taxes or anything due. They were providing a service to the people. No. They make a claim. They had to go through a process again to go to the courts, which should not have happened. For the courts to decide and give them right ownership. And during this process, when the property was occupied by government itself, these owners were charged for levy, charged for the service, the fees, when they didn't have possession of the property. But because it's their property, they paid almost $500,000. If the person did not own a property, why even charge them? Because, no. Again, they went to the court awarded them cost. The government still didn't pay them the cost. Now it's their property. It's their legal property. What is going currently? With all those obstacles they went through that to gain their property, to have access. Now they are denied access to the property. When they won the case, the police, the IGP, were negotiating, saying that, look, we cannot just vacate. And they have an understanding due to the service being provided by the police. They were patient. They went on negotiating with the IGP. This was the former IGP. But let us remember, the office of the IGP is not personal. Whether there's a former or current, there should be a paper trail, there should be a file. There's no excuse, oh, it was the former IGP. That's wrong. That shows the ineffectiveness, inefficiencies in the force. But they negotiated that, give us time to vacate, because we cannot just uproot our men and the services we provide. They had an understanding. Now, finally, the police vacated the premises, and they made the premises. When they vacated, they made. We all saw, in the videos. If you didn't see the video, go and look at my timeline. They vacated to the training school in Banjulundi. Now it's time for these people to take possession of their property. On Thursday they went there. Guess what? The police have a guard. Fine, they can have a guard in order to transfer the property properly. They don't want to abandon it to be used by somebody else. But these people came. They were denied access because there's someone up there and executive order. They went back to the courts, to the sheriff division, and came with a sheriff officer, someone called Musa. And today they have possession today. They went on to do the press conference. But before the end of the press conference, the police turned up again, asking them to vacate the property. This is their own property. Just take it onto halat lang ko yan sen boppa ku ñew na ngeen ngeen sen kër. I'll get to the reason why. They want them to vacate. And sadly enough, it seems the sheriff division doesn't understand their powers, or they don't know their responsibility. Saying that, oh, we have to comply. The courts have the final say. Oh, because of, they help us to enforce the law. They don't help you. There's the duty to enforce the law. It's their duty to enforce the law. Now, we have seen the police breaking the law. The police undermining the due process of the rule of law. The police undermining the justice system. How do we expect people to respect the police? How do people expect the youths to respect law and order? And we'll blame the youths for anything, a problem in the country. Are the police ignorant of the law? Is the sheriff division ignorant of their powers, the law? Now, we have seen citizens who want to contribute, as people say, come back home, contribute, contribute. We have citizens on the ground trying to contribute. I'm coming to the healthcare system. Imagine if this clinic was functional. And what statement I heard from the gentleman part of the Global Home Medical Mission, said what do they want to continue. They want to continue their projects to give the comprehensive, effective clinical care that is necessary to support the healthcare system. Not only that, to make it a priority so that in the region or in the continent, people will come and seek for medical assistance based on the health tourism. Why can't we support that? These people are doing this. They're investing on this. But no, this is the future that they're working on. It's the outrage. Where's this outrage? Why don't they have outrage on this? What do we think is the problem of the country if it's not leadership? But if Barrow is doing all this and the government failing us, where is the alternative? Not speaking about these things. Why can't they go and address this properly? But everything is based on the party leader, party leader, party leader, party leader. Where is the structure in these political parties? Where are their healthcare spokespeople? Where are their land spokespeople? Where are the people that represent us come out? It's not sustainable to expect a party leader to address everything. They can give an overview of issues. But we should expect these things to be addressed. People to be addressed. People to wear the healthcare spokesperson of the political parties. To go and address the healthcare system. To visit these facilities. Not to wait for your party leader to visit the facilities. Why can't we have today the outrage when the video went viral to see party spokespeople visit the facility? They have the right to visit. They are the alternative. To expose and actually give their plans to change this. Let them win the hopes of, let them give hope to people. Let them give a narrative that people can understand. This is what we're going to do with Bundung Clinic. This is what we do with healthcare system. But we have seen this injustice going on. We have seen this injustice going on. And this should be an outrage. Why would anybody consider Adama Barrow? This is the same system we had in the dictatorship. It's continuing. He is continuing the policy of the dictatorship. And do you know why? Do you know why they want to seize? They want to seize this property. They went to the High Court. These people won the courts. They went through the courts, got their property. They took them to the High Court. The government wanted to justify seizing this property, saying that it's for the public good. Because they want to build a hotel. A hotel is not a public good. This is a medical facility. This was a functional medical facility that was, servicing the public and have the plans to open up, in fact, to be part of that hotel industry. Another side to diversify our investment, our market, to bring a new market to the hotel industry. How many thousand Gambians are going to Dakar? If the public fail, there's a private individuals coming out here to give those services before we go to Dakar for those services. It could have been given to us. But look, now, how can you take a facility from health to give it to hotel? To give it to a private, not even a government hotel, a private in this thing. How can you do that? How can you justify that right? The courts came out right again. The democracy we fought for, some of it's working. The courts came out right again and give the property to the rightful owner. That's the Global Home Medical Mission. They gave them back their property. Now, can we remember a few months ago, around March, Ahmad Bah came out with Barrow and others to say that was the premises. They intend to give to a Senegalese citizen, a corrupt businessman who, I am not making the allegations, have been found in audit reports in Senegal itself, a friend of Macky Sall, to not deliver what he was meant to deliver on a procurement project. Computers and electronics softwares to deliver. He did not, and he took the money and ran with the money. Nothing came out of it in Senegal. The guy doesn't. The company is non-existent. The company have no track record in building hotels. The company cannot. Nobody would invest $100 million in that hotel or any hotel in the Gambia right now. If anybody claims that they lie, the markets are not right for Gambia now. Tourism is broke in Gambia. Even to maintain the existing hotels is a problem. Go and ask the hoteliers what they're going through. They want to give this property for the OIC projects. The guy doesn't have the capacity, and they want to take someone else's property to give it to him. This is what they're trying to do. And it will go back to Adam Barrow. The same person they want to give the hotel to. I made these allegations and nobody came out to debunk it. Gave a vehicle, 2 vehicles to Adam Barrow. 2 vehicles to Adam Barrow. I forgot the marks of the vehicle. I've written it down on my timeline before. I agitated. Nobody came out and said it's not true. Because they know it's true. He bribed them with vehicles. And he did the same thing with Macky Sall. If people can remember the one when Macky Sall went to Tiwawan or somewhere else, and the vehicle that caught fire is one of the vehicles that this gentleman gave. I mean, something Yai, I think. He's half Gambian. Yes, his mother from the Gambia. This is the problem we have. Now, that's the issue about this facility. I just have to do briefly and move on. We'll talk about these things again. But I hope the owners would go out there and resist and get the public behind them. This should not happen. And this level of corruption can bring about destabilization. This is the same thing that they did to Matar Sarr. People that have no Gambian political history. And end up Matar Sarr killing a friend of his who went to prevail on him. He didn't go out there to arrest him, but to prevail on him. And Matar Sarr had to kill himself. 2 families lost, and the country lost 2 great sons because of politicians. And now we're seeing the same thing happen again, and we're trying to ignore it. And we think it's about politics, or no, it's about the country. This is about rule of law. How can you want to take someone else's property? For what? A corruption. We move on to the healthcare system. Everybody heard this video, the video gone viral. And this is the same. Dr. Samate, the government itself, but Dr. Samate, the Minister of Health, the same Dr. Samate, they came into Parliament to say that this is what is happening at the health system. It's corrupt, it's this, it's this, it's this. And I told you people then, because he thought that he was going to lose his job, because there was an ex-health minister who was likely to be appointed. That's why he tried to smear that health minister, saying that that health minister is coming to the department asking for fuel coupons. It was nothing to do right. He was doing to save his job. That's why he went and grandstand the government at the parliament. Since then, what did he do to improve the system? I'm vindicated again. What did he do to improve the situation? Nothing. Absolutely, it went worse. I am one of the few. Not that I don't want to admit that things are getting worse. Yes, we know that it's from the government, but it is getting worse. The entire healthcare system we don't have. Staff morale, staff, the people, the human force, the staff, not that we don't have qualified staff, they are, they are not motivated, they are frustrated, they don't have the equipment, they don't have the tools, they don't have, the facilities to do their job. There's no facilities, the corruption is just endemic. The COVID funds, where is it gone? Where's the procurement gone? They went and procure, anything they do now is for political reasons. They are not looking at the priorities needed for the healthcare system to be improved. The staff welfare and other things are not being looked into. First, the things that are essential, even basic hygiene, to look after those things is not. If you cannot maintain the existing facilities, how can you build new facilities? If you cannot provide equipment for the existing facility, how can you equip new facilities? If you don't have the treatment facilities, and what's the point of bringing someone to that facility? What's the point of those ambulances? Why have an ambulance and give it to communities rather than give it to the healthcare system to be in charge of? Is this not been politicized? Who politicized the healthcare? apart from them. All the projects, everything they do to procure vehicles. Try to start a new project. That's the way they can steal money. Procurement of vehicles is easy to steal money. Kickbacks, 10%. The building of new is given a contract to refurbish facilities, toilets, wards. We have seen again what the diaspora and Gambians on the ground have done, private citizens. The Gambia the diaspora healthcare initiative, we have seen their contribution. They got discouraged. Where are they now? Because they have not been encouraged. If even you go as a partner to help, they kick you out. We have seen the other diaspora something club. Who went out there to refurbish a complete ward, the children's ward, and we have seen the standard of job being delivered. What about the rest? Which ward have that government refurbished? Where's the money? Where's the budget going to? Where's it been spent? That's where the corruption is. Now we have a group of people that come out and concerned about the maternal mortality rate, and they call them being politicized and rubbishing and in fact insulting our women. Yes, some are doing something harmful and wrong, using foreign particles of tobacco into their private. That's wrong. But that's not the cause of the death. A healthcare system doesn't have a blood bank system. Just imagine, since we came in, why can't we operate a blood bank system? We can go on and go on and go on. But the viral video has said it all. It's not a claim we made. This is a medical staff. We cannot be denied. It's not a claim that Ben Suare made. On video, live, showing outrage. How many staff within that catchment area? The hospital is inadequate. How many beds in that hospital? The mothers have to share beds in the middle of pandemic. What's the point? It's right. What's the point of wearing a mask? When you are risking the staff, patient life, it's because you don't have a choice. The nurses are overworked, the doctors are overworked, but we don't see that. Instead of we hold the administrators responsible, no, we blame the doctors or nurses. Do we know their life? These people are the least paid. I am not looking down to domestic workers. I'll tell you, some domestic workers are earning as much as nurses that went through school system, recycle, and go to the health, the school of nursing to come out and still be paid as a home assistant. You think that nurse would be able to service when they have the burden, the standard of living in the country, all failed by this government? Because it's not something they inherited. It's gotten worse. They did not make it better. What they make better is themselves. And yesterday, someone pointed out to me, Samsidin Sarr that joined the government, the propaganda government a few weeks ago, looks better now. He looks better. He was suffering wherever he was coming from. He even have changed. That's what you see. All of them that joined the wagon of the NPP, they were hungry and tired. And the minute they joined the gravy train, you see the difference. And that's not only on their outlook, but go and look at now, they start to own properties. They are start to do things. That's why they go out lying against people. That's why they go and do anything in order to keep this government. It's not about the people. It's not about the country. It's not about love of country or anything. It's not. They don't have humanity in them. They don't have empathy. They do anything to smear people, to insult people, to prop up a government we all know have completely failed us in all sectors. Name me one sector, one, apart from their personal projects. Dr. Sabata have failed. The healthcare system is an outrage. It's an outrage. How can anyone support a government that inherited that and could have turned it around? You could not do anything about it. It got worse, getting worse and worse. The billions. A government that have borrowed in 4 years have borrowed more than the dictatorship borrowed in 22 years. Can you imagine that? Borrowed in 4 years what the dictatorship have not borrowed in 22 years. And we have not seen anything, anything tangible. The condition of that country, the healthcare system. Now, the other thing again, as I said, I'm touching brief. I cannot spend the time here. I don't have much time, but I want to touch on all this thing. The other thing is the so-called Jinak Bara project, a mini city. A city, actually, not a mini city. It's a lie. It's a phantom lie. One, the person, we're still looking at him. We still cannot find anything to his track record to say had he owned anything permanent even in Senegal he came from. His name is not even a household name in Senegal. There's no company we can associate with him in Senegal. That's the simple due diligence you can do. If Ben Swari come around in the Gambia and say that he can do this, go and find out what Ben Swari was doing in the United Kingdom to claim that he can do this. There must be a footprint. There must be a record somewhere. But someone come from Senegal, turning around to say that he's going to build a city. We have not seen any individual, any company build a city in Senegal before. Not now. Econ came out with that Econ project. I said it. It was a scam. And it's still a scam. Nothing happened. All they do is speculate, hold on land. Now the same Econ is going to Uganda and promising the same project to Uganda. You think people would put their billions or millions in projects just like that? Even drug dealers, even money launderers launder money where they can save the money to get back that money. There's nothing like charity throwing away money. Where you think in Senegambia, in Gambia, someone will build a city just like that. Go and look at something that is someone with a track record. What TAF is going to do. Look at what TAF have explained. Completely explain what phases, how many years it's going to take, and how it's going to work. And he purchased the land. He purchased the land from the owners, rightful owners. He paid for that land. Now he is trying to sell according to phase, according to this, according to this. The project will become a success due to a strategic planning. And he have done similar things. You can go and look at TAF track record. He has something that we can hold on to. But an individual, a Senegalese individual, we never heard of. We have never seen. I've tried everything to try to track this guy. I forgot his name again, Modun Jai or whatever it is. I've got it somewhere on my timeline even. We are checking out this guy. We can't find anything on him. We cannot associate a company with him. The company being named is unregistered in the Gambia. It's a new company, River Gambia, as you saw, Gambia River City or whatever it is. It's just phantom. It's nothing. It's just registered in the Gambia. We cannot see a company that is competent to say that they are going to deliver the city. A city to build how many universities? It's a city to build a plant, power generation. A city to build how many hotels? A city to build how many homes? A city to build other things? Just like that? On the other side of the river? When the existing city, we have seen what happened with the Bajam project. When we see what is happening with our Narek and other things. In the middle of a pandemic, who would build hotels in Gambia in the middle of a pandemic? Common sense tells us this. It's not true. But where is the opposition? Why are they quiet? Why are they going out there to talk to people? I am not blaming, I'm not talking about the party leader going round. The party leader doesn't have to get up for the party to be known, or the programs of the party to be known. Someone should own up to those areas. Where is the spokesperson for lands of political parties? We don't identify one. What is spokesperson for investment on political parties? To go around and speak to the people of Bara. And another thing they did, this is, they cannot show you. We are looking for it. They will not show you any feasibility studies been done, any environmental impact assessment been done or anything else. None. It's not existence. What they do, we know. And I'll tell you. Now, in order, they went on to try to, this is a protected, environmental protected area, where an ecosystem, I mean, the ecology, the floodplains, this is going to affect the Salum Delta itself. If you build on that land, you'll be affecting not only Gambia, but part of Senegal will be affected. A proper studies will not allow just that area to be built. There are toys and other things that come back in that area to they lay their eggs and other things and other things. Ecology has to be respected. Nothing. Now they could not get what they want. Now they went through Bara, and they use what? Councillors. They use, local, alcalos and cabelos. They brought them together. And even within that, what they did is they bought some of them and sold them this idea. Yeah. Give some little bit of money, sold them this idea. This guy is coming to build a city here. Jobs will be created this week. It's all lies. Now, these people handed over the land from different angles now. God knows how many kilometers of land been handed to a private individual. No this thing. And now he will be having ownership. You see, one is, and I'll tell you, the problem with this, the government does not bother, or the officers in charge, the technocrats don't bother. All they want the kickback. The guy gives them a kickback. They will not make sure that anything done is done properly to protect the interests of the people or the nation. No. That's why recently, all the cases the Gambia government have taken against, this government have taken against companies that were involved in the Gambia with the dictator, they lost their cases in the international laws, courts. They lost against Africa Petroleum, Petronauts. They lost against this company called Galea Holdings. This is about the two ferries. You know, those two ferries got from scrapyards and sold, brought as a collateral or part of the investment capital with the Gambia Ports Authority. The Gambia government lost that case again. The people coming to do these deals make sure that the people that are acting on our behalf are corrupted, and they will do anything they want. Actually, the so-called investor or the cowboy operator, I call them, will draw the contract, and government will sign on the dotted lines. And they have it their way. Any new government come in, you are in trouble. To renegotiate or to repossess that property, you have to pay them back. That's their investment. They are speculators. No serious government will entertain them. They will never go to a serious government, in fact. But they know the government we have. And you'll be surprised how cheap our technocrats are. Especially, they know there's a mode of operandi here. They go to Senegal. They brought them haftans, they brought them garambubas for their wives and stuff like that. That's first package. Go and ask them. I'm not making this up. I wish I was. How cheap. Most of the things that Barrow wears is from the so-called cowboy operators and Tangara and others. That's what they do. They start with that, and next minute, few. They don't consider the cost, what they impact. They don't care. They give them few $100, $1,000. They are okay. But the future of that country, the future of this thing, they don't care about that. That's why it's easy for cowboy operators to make business in the Gambia. This is the same reason why Barrow have an investment permanent secretary at the president's office. iPhone, laptops, you are right. And some of these electronic gears is just to spy on them. They put spyware on them to know everything, negotiations, transactions they did. That's all. And at times they demand it because they have so much girlfriends, or they want to give their daughters or their sons or whatever it is. Showing you in my laptop, showing you in my iPhone. Or they take them to hotels in Senegal or wherever the investor come from, entertainment, take them to dinners. And that's it. Voila. This is that's what this country. Now this project, it's a fake. It's not true. Now, if this person given the land, all they do is they prepare the ground. Things like they fence the ground, prepare the ground, and they hold onto the ground. Now, this is it. It's a speculation. Now, it's either government come back to them, recompensate them with profits, and some of these proceeds they use to prepare the ground are money laundered. They are money laundered in many ways. And for the government now to compensate them, or in the due probably 5 years come, 6 years come, the land is still theirs. They got a lease for it, 99 years. And what happened? A major company will come in and they will use the land as a collateral, as part of their investment. A land that they got for nothing. Now, it's a big capital because 5 years to come, that 100, I know how many kilometers. The land started from Barra Point to almost the edge of our border with Senegal. Almost to the edge of the border to Senegal. This should even be a national security issue. A Senegalese national been given a land from Barra Point. And people that know history of the Gambia, what Barra Point mean, stand for. I mean, why do you have the Fort Bland? You see, our sovereignty. You see, it's just sad we have ignorant people in position. This is ignorance. It's not, you see, you think they are doctorate and masters on what it means and they're educated people? They're ignorant. No conscious person will sell their country there's no cost. Nobody can pay for that country. But they don't care. Barra Point means a lot for Gambia. From Barra Point to almost the Jinak, or to the part of Jinak would be part of Senegal. Now you give it to a private citizen who is a Senegalese. What do you tell him? You see, there are certain projects needed to go through an assessment for national security. But I know that this so-called city is alive. It's not going to happen. People that understand investment will tell you, who is going to invest in a hotel in the Gambia right now? 100 million to prepare. You see, even what needed for that place to be a city. It's just crazy even to think about the word city in that area. That a private investor would go in there to do a city. It's just crazy. And what he claimed to be going to put in there is just crazy. It does not make sense. It doesn't add up. But the people, they don't care. For Barrow, it's political. For Barrow, he can go and bamboozle the people from Nyomi, in fact, to say that I'm building a city, I'm building this. He doesn't care. Because he knows that the people forget easily. Next 5 years, he can come and lay another foundation stone. As we have seen claims that he made many areas. But these are serious things that we expect. Outrage, we expect politicians to go out there and to educate the people and tell them. This is what we need to do. But we don't have a press. I'll tell you that. What we have is PR agents. Our press is just like a PR agent. Hardly, we only have people to go out there. I can call Flex down. I can call Mustafa, go out there trying to look at the behind of the scenes to bring something out. And when it comes out, people don't even support it. These are our problems. Now, the same similar scenario. You know, we talk about what happened at the old premises that anti-crime was using in Bijou, that Yaya Jammeh took from them. Now, the owners, who are Global Home and Medical Mission, have repossessed that property. But again, the government is challenging it. They got all the rights. They went through the courts and made everything clear. But still now the government wanted for another Senegalese citizen, another cowboy operator. And we talked about his background. He doesn't have the capacity to raise $100 million and for hotel for who? I mean, if just simple research will tell you, go and look at hotels in Senegal during the OIC, how it was built. King Fahd and other places, how it was built. You know that these people have failed in their mobilization. No private investment would put 100 million in a hotel in the Gambia. Now, they are trying that scam again. But again, they want to take the spot for that scam. Now, this morning, I share about the old bike track. The old bike track is, people that don't know, is the premises at It's on my timeline. It's the premises by Palmarima. This is another reserve land. Land leave, I mean, for ecological, I mean, environmentally, it should not. They didn't have an environment impact license. And I will have to read from what shared with us. And you see, this is what I'm talking about. The outrage, the people within, and this document was, I mean, the notes, and this person gave me notes and made these allegations. But not only the notes, the person was able to share, if you go on my timeline, the person was able to share official document. I know you were not able to see it because of the glaring on the phrase. These are the maps. This is the site map, I mean, showing where it had been allocated. And the person have shared letters from the Minister of Tourism. The minister himself, I'm not talking about the ministry. The minister himself signed this letter instead of the permanent secretary, the technocrat. To do this is the minister himself. And the letter is about reducing the fees that meant to be paid. And I'll go through the notes quickly to give you the background of this. What we know for certain, they don't have, we trying to get certain things, I cannot say now, but we started doing our due diligence onto the people that claim to own, to be the investors. We can't find them yet. We still cannot find them. But if someone has something to hide, they will not want to be found. Because if I am a genuine investor, I have a track record, I'll place my face, I place my, everything out there for people to see. Any investment I go into, I put it out there because my shareholders and other people want to see the progress and evidence of what we're doing, or we want to attract more shareholders onto our business. This is what they do. They have to be transparent, and so these things will happen. But this all-buy track at Palmarima was given to a company, and I'll read from the notes. He said the truth. This is allegation. The truth behind the land allocated to Kayajang Holdings. Kayajang Holdings. We're still looking at behind this company, this Kayajang Holdings. You'll be surprised that we haven't found anything yet, and we might not find anything. But as I said, it's on my timeline, and you can do your own. That's why I share it for now. But we are doing our own investigations as well. The gentleman said, recently, there has been a lot of social and print media coverage of the protests by environmentalists at the old cycle track in Kotu between Badala Park Hotel and Palmarima Hotel. The site has a land area of approximately 213 meters by 1,000 meters. The environmentalists are claiming that the land is an environmentally sensitive area and is a hot spot for bird watching, and the Gambia Tourism Board allocated the whole area to a Chinese investor. This is the premise. This is to explain what the area that we see the people occupying and demonstrating about is at Palmarima, as in between this location, and that's the measurement of the area. The gentleman continued, I investigated the matter and discovered the truth behind the project. He said he did his investigation, and this is these findings. The project was a Malaysian investor instead of a Chinese investor, investment as many were made to believe. You know, Malaysians have Chinese. Probably they saw Chinese looking people and they thought they are Chinese citizens. But the people, cowboy operators, are Malaysians. Malaysian investor. Okay. And the company is called Eye of West Africa Gambia Kajara Holdings, and the investor is said to be the owner of Favorite Hotel in Vietnam and other hotel brands such as Hyatt Hotel. The minute I see Hyatt, that's a lie. That's a lie. Owner of Hyatt? Go and look at the investment portfolio for Hyatt Hotel. You see, and again, if you look at the name of the company, you find out that the company existence is not of existence until it's got registered in the Gambia. Or the first part of the company being labeled have been registered in another a dodgy kind of environment. This, I mean, it's a shell company. That's what they do in order to transmit some of the financial transactions they do. A shell company in Virgin Islands or Caribbean, somewhere in the Caribbean, somewhere else. I mean, tax havens or something like that. This is how they operate. Probably that part of that would be that. But you'll be surprised again. If you go to site that out too, you'll not find anything because that too is linked to another shell company. You see, it takes a lot of a technical know-how to get to these things, but a government or investment authority should be able to do this due diligence and play it out. But they don't care. It's all about the kickbacks. It's all about the kickbacks. It continued. The project was a Malaysian investor instead of a Chinese investor, as many were made to believe. The company is called the Eye of West Africa, Gambia. Eye of West Africa, Gambia. We know it's a new company in Gambia. Then Kaijang Holdings. Kaijang is a holding. And the investment is said to be, investor is said to be the owner of Amphibiatic Hotel in Vietnam and other hotels brands such as Hyatt Hotel. The investor applied for the land in 2020 for the construction of a resort, mini Disneyland, shopping mall for international brands and casino. Again, this is the claim they make, a resort that they want to put in there. And people with business sense will look at it again. 2020, we were in a pandemic. We are still in a pandemic. What investor would looking at the tourism in the Gambia? We all see what happened to our tourism already. The existing hotel facilities and everything cannot even attract anything or be maintained. Now someone else coming to claim that he's going to build a resort. That's a speculator. But not only a genuine speculator, but it's a speculator in the sense that he's just a cowboy. He's just looking to acquire this land, put it undergrounding and put it under that holding, and that land one day would mature to something else, or the environment would be completely changed and conducive for investment. Then he has something. But how did he get hold of this land? How did he get hold of this land? That's where you have to look at. He got it for nothing. And another thing you find out, why did he get it for nothing? Because the people responsible to give out this land benefited. Then they have never looked at the interests of the people, the interests of the country. They don't care about that. It's all about them being wealthy, being rich, to able to provide private healthcare, private schools, job investment opportunities and everything else for their families and friends, but nothing for the rest of the people. This is what caused the poverty, and this is what is fueling the crime in that country. Then this is a failure of leadership. That's why we asking the alternative. We have given up on Barrow, but we want the alternative to step up and talk about these issues and give us assurance that, look, we are going to do this, that, and that. This is how we're going to do them. It's not just go on political rallies to castigate each other or to insinuate issues and stuff like that. We want concrete. Something that people can see through. Able to see through. We want something transparent. It continued. He said, the investor applied for the land in 2020 for the construction of a resort, mini Disney, shopping mall for international brands and casinos. His investment was worth $15 million US, and he was supposed to pay a 5% deposit of $750,000 US as per the requirement for allocation of land in the tourism development area. He claimed that his investment would be worth $15 million. That's part of what they did. And now what he's meant to pay for that land, to secure that land, is $750,000. That's what he meant to pay. That's about 5% of the cost of investment. Now, it continues here. However, the investor's lawyer, Mr. Sirif Tambedu, wrote to the Ministry of Tourism and Culture requesting for a reduce of the 5% levy charged to 1% and to allow them 60 days to pay. Now the Sirif division, Sirif Tambedu, the lawyer acting on behalf of the investor, we know who Sheriff Tambedu is. He's not a stranger for these things. Negotiated with the Minister of Tourism. The letter is on my timeline, on that post. Negotiated for the payment, the levy, reduced from 5% to 1%. You see, what I said, that when you look at how it's done, the lawyer have the audacity to ask for the reduction. Why? The guy is not developing anything today. Reduction to 1%. You see, this is just, when they do this, it's formality. They do this in letters and stuff like that. You have to understand what goes behind the scenes. They put, okay, send a letter for 1%, but we will do 2%. That's how they do it. But 3% will be somewhere else. And the investor will be, okay. Investor knows that he paid. This is my understanding of how these things work. I've not come to the claim of the gentleman first. My understanding, then the investor is okay. That 5%, I'll pay 5%. I don't mind. I'm going to have my land. Because the land for $750,000 is a joke. Because we have seen land going for how many almost $1 million, what, 20 by something for almost that amount. It's a speculator. He's okay to invest. And some of this money, as I said, are money laundered. It's part of the value of that money to pay for that. Why did I say this? The evidence is there. Go to GRA and find out what's happening. People, some of you that took part in it, you admit. I've never, and I will never. I pay my receipts. Whatever is on my receipt, whatever I pay for has to be on my receipt. I don't take part in that. But we know that 99% of us do. You go to GRA, you pay 100,000. But because they already told you that, no, your charge should be 200,000, but pay 100,000. But we are going to put 50,000 on your receipt. And you say, yeah, I don't care. Because now you're part of that corruption, you give 100,000. This is the same the investor do. The investor know that the land is far valued than 750,000. He doesn't care to pay the 150,000. But he knows that his receipt would not be 150,000. But who else would know? Because the people in charge are the ones doing it. All it matters to me, I got a letter. I've got the documents. I got my list and everything. This is what they do. It continues. Sheriff Tambedu asked for that. Mr. Sheriff Tambedu wrote to the Minister of Tourism and Culture requesting for the reduce of the 5% levy charged to 1% and allow them 60 days to pay. The guy has to allow 60 days to pay. Transfer of funds should not take 60 days. Why does the man need 60 days if he is the investor he said he is? You see, these are red flags. For an electronic transfer, for any investor, to the Gambia, doesn't need a 60 days. Why does the gentleman need 60 days? Why are we not asking these questions? 60 days to pay. What he's struggling with finance. He's struggling to move finance. These are the shows you what cowboy investors they are. Probably he's done something, he's waiting for maturity or something to pay for that thing. It continues. However, the investor lawyer, Mr. Sheriff Tambedu, wrote to the Minister of Tourism and charged to the 1% churn and allow it for 60 days to pay. The Minister of Tourism, in a letter to GT Board, dated May 28, 2020, and signed by the Honorable Minister of Tourism and Culture, Hamad Ba, requested that the Gambia Tourism Board reduce the levy to 2% and allow the investor 30 days to pay. This action of Honorable Minister contravened the land allocation regulations as the 5% is non-reducible and non-refundable. Now the minister himself intervened. You see, now this 60 days is part of the negotiation. Behind the scenes, they said, okay, put in the letter 60 days, and I'll say 30 days. Because, yeah, 30 days that you need. This is how they do things. Now, the minister has taken things into his own hands to reduce the 5% levy to 2% and given directive to the Gambia Tourism Board to reduce this levy. And according to the gentleman, the minister don't have that powers. The levy is not negotiable. The levy is not refundable. But why did this thing happen? These are the things that we need to talk about. Okay, it continues. 30 days to pay. This action of Honorable Minister contravened the land allocation regulations as the 5% is non-reducible and non-refundable. The Honorable Minister cited COVID as a challenge for the investor, but even if that is the case, the Honorable Minister cannot single-handedly make such decision. He cited COVID. Now, if the COVID is a challenge, did he actually then look at these challenges to see if this guy actually is going to invest, is going to make this thing material? And there's another area we're looking for, the terms and conditions. Terms and conditions is what grace period is given to the person, the investor, to build. If he failed that, it should be taken off it. There should be like a 3-year, 5-year, or 4-year, whatever it is should be. We are trying to find this evidence. These are the evidence we need to find. Now, the journalists now have the powers. The law been passed to seek for these documents. You can write to the GT board. You can write to the Minister of Tourism, and they will have to comply and release these things. Now, this is what we expect from journalists. But as I said, we don't have them in the Gambia. Most of them are not anyway. Let me put it that way. It continued. This action of the Honorable Minister contravened the land allocation regulations as the 5%. The decision to make the levy 5% non-refundable was by cabinet. Thus, every request for reduction and or refund of the levy should be approved by Parliament. Hamad Ba, his permanent secretary Kodu Jabang, the then Director General Ablai Haidara and Director of Finance Usainu Senghor were running Gambia Tourism Board as their own enterprise, flooding all regulations and causing the institution economic loss. These are the claims made by the author. These are the claims made by the author. I continue. He said, if you can recall, in the same year, the minister sent all GT board staff home on half salary under the pretext that the institution is not financially liquid to pay wages due to the COVID period when there was no tourists coming. So, if the institution needs money, why then would he make such a huge reduction for a multi-millionaire investor? In fact, it is widely believed that the investor has paid the full 5% levy, but the lawyer Sirif Tambedo and the Honorable Minister and his corrupt syndicates at the Gambia Tourism Board found a way of reducing it to 2%, and so they can keep the 3% themselves. This is the kind of thought I had, and I shared before now, and this gentleman is making the same thing. Common sense. If the guy is the investor he said here, he have all these things, the guy, why ask for this reduction? And the grace period of 30 days to pay. When you desperately need of money, you have sent poor people, poor staff home now and not getting paid. But Ahmad Bak was getting paid, allowances and everything else. This is the injustice that's going on. And then, as he normally said, allegations he made that actually they believe that this money have been paid. 5% have been paid, but it's not on the receipts, just as I explained how these things happen. It continued to say, he says this week it continues, this cannot be confirmed. Gambians who apply for land in the TDA are subjected to all sorts such and never get a reduction. But the Honorable Minister can give reduction to foreign investors. This is sad. This prime land was allocated to an investor at the cost far too small, and the Gambia made a huge loss that could have gone a long way to keep the Gambia Tourism Board sustainable for the considerable period of time. The allegation the gentleman made that if Gambians apply for land in the tourism development area, they pay all the costs and deductions are not made. I have a proof of that. Mr. Modutal of Bakau, I forgot his company name, actually had a problem, and I think that case is in the courts. Modutal have applied for a land at the TDA, a specific area, and he have paid all the levies and everything asked of him without negotiations or any deductions. Guess what? They pre-approved and took out of the pre-approval and gave the same land to that infamous Indian investor or cowboy investor, I call it. I forgot the name, who is a very good friend of Ahmad, but apparently a daughter of Ahmad is working with him. Mr. T something. And that Musa Modutal, as a Gambian investor, was actually building a multi-purpose spa and other facilities for the hotel industry. But this Indian so-called investor is doing something different, which Mr. Modutal project would have been more beneficial to the conducive for the environment at the tourism sector. Nandu. Mr. Nandu. Yeah, Nandu. But he was denied. This is a fact then. If the guy makes this allegation, I can say it's a fact, because I have seen the documents to that and I know it's in the courts. Let's continue. Now, Gambians, it's up to you guys. If you want this government to continue, we have seen the proof now. Everything given out here, multinational or so-called, are all foreigners. These are not anything given to Gambians. We continue. Gambians who have applied, the amount of land allocated has never been allocated to an individual investor before. This area have been untouched because of the nature and have been a heaven for birds watchers in the Gambia. The current Director General, Mr. Abubakar Kamara, was contacted by Kerfatu on the issue, and he said the allocation was not done. Allocation was not done at his time. That was a flimsy excuse because he was Director of Quality Control and License at the time of allocating this land, and he sits in senior managerial meetings, so he should be in picture of, or is he insinuating that even some senior management were not with what was happening in the tourism board? That's a good citation there. To say that a senior member, or the current senior position member, Director General, is saying that the allocation was not made during his presence. But no, he was in there. He holds a senior position, quality and license. That's have to do something he should have. Or is he telling us that he doesn't even have control over that? Again, is he blaming the executive? Is he blaming the management of doing things wrongly? Due process not followed. That's it. The current Director General is a puppet of the Honorable Minister, and the Gambia Tourism Board will still continue to remote control by the Minister in all land allocation, employment of staff, travel. For the last 5 months, the Honorable Minister had embarked on travel to Kenya twice, Spain, Cape Verde, Ivory Coast, with a delegation of not less than 6 people on a per diem paid by Gambia Tourism Board, with hefty travel impressed, and they are currently planning a tour of Europe, when he himself claimed that the Gambia Tourism Board budget is not able to sustain staff salaries. Where is all this money on travel expense coming from? A valid reason. I could have gone through asking the validity of this travel. Why travel now when tourists, people pay for their travel or plan their travel a year on? So, there are a lot of things to ask, but we don't have time for all that. It took a lot of time to get into this. But again, other 2 things I want to touch on is this FIFA, is it Gambia football? You know, I'm not a football person. I'm not a football person. But this, again, an investigation done and presented on video, and the video have gone viral on the FIFA project, the FIFA Forward project, where 7 million or so is allocated, or about 11 million could have been allocated to Gambia to build facilities, capacity building for Gambia football, for the youths. Now again, the youths will be blamed for any ruling behavior or any crime they commit or anything else. But people who are in charge to make sure these youths have the structures, have the environment, conducive environment to grow, to be productive, are the ones causing the corruption, using corruption to disempower these youths, and some of them unfortunately would lead the life of crime. You see, if we don't look at the causes of crime, we cannot solve the crime. We can build so much anti-crime units as much as possible. We can arm the police and do everything, but it's not the solutions to the crime. Let's look at the causes of crime. Now, if you look at the FIFA program and the investigation and the video, excellent, excellent. And they did a comparison to show Mauritania. Mauritania, in fact, a desert nation, have delivered on their projects. But Gambia have not a single one. They've shown us fields, different areas, they take on. You see, again, ask yourself, why do you think the Gambia Football Association decided to have 5 projects instead of 1 or 2? Because the more contracts you give, the more kickback you have. It's just the same thing Gambia government does. The more contracts you give, the more vehicles you buy, the more kickbacks you have. That's all. This is big tickets procurement, big tickets procurement. Rather than go and work with local communities to make sure they have ownership of these projects, to get these projects running, they won't do that. I'll give an example again what Gambian citizens have done on their own. The community of Bakau School project by Bakau ex-people of Bakau School and friends in the Gambia and in the diaspora came together. And I wish we had 1 million. I wish we had 1 million. Go and look at the transformation done in Bakau School project. Go and Google Bakau School project on your computer, on Facebook, and look at what transformation has been done by Gambians putting in together. But what you find out is not the amount of money put together. It's amount of minds that came together to make it possible. And the ownership given to the people themselves. And the most transformative thing that we done was not the buildings, it was the people. Right now, I can point one, we have reclaimed 2 classes, been turned to nursery schools within the primary school, have never been done. I've never heard of that. We reclaimed 2 classes, turn it to nursery school, free paid. Because for who? The people from the community that cannot afford to send their children to early learning. Now they have the facility, and the school intake now is coming out from this underprivileged people. Because of there are a lot of people around the community now are taking their children to private institutions. But now the public institutions, we took over. The community of Bakau and people's friends of Bakau came to and had this initiative. That's one of the most important transformation. That's why I said the ideas that we came together before the money. 2, we've brought the community of Bakau into the school. Now they are part of the school structures. They are part of the board that look after the school. To avoid what had happened, because it was a shame when we saw how the school ended up, the school that we all went to. Because of their offenses, when we go to Gambia, we don't have time to visit these places on what. It's a shame, that's a fact. But now, when you put the community, the school within the community into the school, Now we have information because our families are going there, they're part of the board, they discuss the resources, the lack of it, or the, if we need to make sure the resource allocations is managed and directed the right places and everything works. But again, on areas that needed to be improved. These are the achievements we have. Another achievement we have is now there's a ceremony, even though people say it's Americanized, whatever, but it gives pride and joy to the children to be wearing gowns to graduate for primary school. It's just all part of what is now. You see them in their gowns, little children graduating from nursery, going into the big school, graduating from the big school, but proud of education and stuff like that. And the intake is very balanced. And gender-wise, it's very balanced. These are things that can be possible. These are things that can be possible. Now, we didn't have the money. The little we have, we put together. But again, another transformation. We recreated, we recreated or rehabilitated the gardening, school gardening programs. We recreated that. That's another thing we introduced. Because of the minds we have. We did not leave it to the Minister of Education. They could have just gone out academic. And without thinking about the other form. We recreated that. Now the school garden is vibrant, it's working. And we tried some urban gardening this thing to minimize the land that we use. They build foundations that people grow their stuff and stuff like that. Kids are getting their hands dirty in the greens and having passion for agriculture and so on. These are things important. We introduced that. Another thing we introduced, we put pride in the children. By, you see, experience we have, you go lunchtime, you just go under the tree and eat anywhere. We build fountains, platforms, tile platform, very neat, very clean, that they can sit down, their uniforms will not be dirty, they can eat from it, they can wipe it, they can wash it, the rain can wash it, and whatever is out in the open. And they can sit as groups, they can sit as friends, and this is how we form our children, help them. And this came from what? Because our diverse background. Some of us from the diaspora got some ideas, saw some ideas. Some on the ground have been to Taiwan, Malaysia, and other places, studied and came back. And they saw ideas. We've come together and do that. These projects could have been successful, but it's corruption. From Kaba Bajo down. Only one person came to the interview, one of the second vice presidents. They go, you see, when the sad thing is, when these people go to say, I want to fight for everything, go to the politics of being elected, FIFA representative or whatever it is for this. It's not the passion for the football, to the game, to grow. It's not the passion to give back or everything. No, it's for them as a job, for them to get more, to be something else. What happens here is, if you look at that video, what amazed me and made me sad is the local committees, local football committees. And you see how eloquent they are, how dedicated they are. If these people were part of the project, you can see the change. How much they are doing for the children, how much they're doing to build the sports. But none of the fields are ready, not even the fence. The grounds have been touched. You see, from Banjul to God knows, every other this thing is done. What's the Minister of Youth and Sports doing? That investigation on the documentary is enough to take it to the police for investigation and for prosecution. But it will not happen. Because that's the order of the day. It's from the executive down, and if we continue with this government, that's it. Everybody is doing what they do. Nobody cares. Everybody is trying to build their mansions, take their children to private school, their wives to work these things, and private hospitals, families to private hospitals, and have money investment. They don't care the rest what happened. And this caused the crime that we have today. Is part of what causes the crime. Imagine how many football professionals would have come out from those academic, those fields been done properly, and their talent been nurtured. Imagine how many kids would be avoiding crime and all that. You see, the benefits are huge, but because of these criminals on top, we are losing everything. Now, finally, NAWEC. A few months ago, NAWEC unveiled a new facility, generation gas facility, new facility in Burkina. And I came out and said it does not going to make any difference. And I don't want to name some of the people that came out against me, but I'm vindicated. You see, the problem of NAWEC is so huge, but it's about leadership and the executive itself. The one thing I'll tell you, the very problems are very similar for what happened in the First Republic, but got more problematic during the Yaya, because of, in the First Republic we cannot say Jawara was involved, but the leadership was competent, the cabinet and other peoples, and so, yeah. But Yaya became the major problem of NAWEC, took over NAWEC. Right now, Barrow continues the same footsteps. One of the areas, as I said, we haven't got time to get into everything, is the fuel importation. I think 40% of NAWEC cost is going to fuel, and there's a mafia that runs that fuel, and they are cahoot with Barrow. There's a guy called, the name is with a French spelling. I cannot say whether Gambian or not, because we have some Gambians that spell their name in French because of they gone to French schools and stuff like that. But this person have no capacity, no nothing, but he's connected to Barrow. He's a friend of Barrow. And now this person have the biggest share of importing this thing. The person doesn't even have a license to import, but he have to be used as an intermediary and using someone else's license to do these things. And the corruption in the fuel is in many facets. One, the quantity. If they invoice NAWEC for 100 liters, they are delivering 10 liters. Another thing is quality. If they promise on their invoice that they have delivered fuel quality of 2% sulfur, instead probably it's still 10% sulfur. It's a cheaper quality of oil. What that cheaper quality of oil does is to break the machines down quicker. You need more spare parts. And the worst thing is, because of NAWEC would accept the procurement, because they should have the facility to test what's been delivered to them. They don't care. They're part of the corruption. The corruption is of a different level. If you want to fight them, they'll kick you out. Go and ask people that try to fight them. They kick you out because of Barrow would listen to them, because Barrow take the kickbacks. Now, that what happens is here. Now instead of we put in a fuel that should be 2% sulfur, which is 10% sulfur, and if the fuel was 2% sulfur, probably you might need 3 months to check the engines and maintenance the engine. But no, it's 10% for sulfur. Probably it's 10% sulfur should take a month to do that maintenance. They will not do the maintenance in money because of it. What if you bring down any engine, it affects the supply. Now they keep the engine running for 3 months. Now what happens? Spare parts. These are the technical, some of the technical things happening behind the scenes. But where are the investigators investigate this? This is where the opposition spokespeople should come out. From the president to the minister of energy, they are all cahoot. And the so-called investors or the procurement guys are every cahoot. Corruption is endemic in this thing. One. The other thing is capacity. Quality of workers and engineers. And John Jatta is one of the most experienced engineers. Go and check now who's heading the engineering section. John Jatta was brought back to NAWEC 2 years ago. He followed with them because of he stood his ground to say, look, we should not go into this corruption. Car power and other things. We could have own our own plant. We have someone ready to do business with us to give us our own plant. But let's go. If I go into the corruption of car power, that's another section. That's a program itself. Do you know what? Barrow have a kickback on car power. You have agents that taking the kickback from car power to Barrow. Now, if you talking about NAWEC problems, hold Barrow accountable, hold the minister accountable, hold the general manager accountable, then it goes down to the cleaner. There are good people within there, but mostly it's the system. It's the system. Now, the billions been pumping and everything will not mean anything because of the leakages are so big. You see, if you are gushing out that much, blood, you can transmit any much, it will not get better. Now the system is just grinding to a halt. You'll be distracted with all this rural electrification. If you know the cost that to NAWEC, economic cost to NAWEC, these are not viable projects. They are political projects. These are all problems with NAWEC. And it goes on. It goes on. That's why we need a serious alternative. That I said, the alternatives are not coming out to tell us exactly how they're going to solve these issues. And this is where they can do the change. It's not about the personality that leads us. It's about what content do they have. What programs do they have? One person cannot run that country. You have to have the team that run the country. One political party cannot run the country. We have to run that country together. But yes, you have to lead with your party. Show us the people around you that can lead on these areas and how they're going to do partnership with us. Just the example I give with the Gambia, the Bakau School project. What initiative do they have to work with the diaspora? If we work together, we have the resources. But the corruption and everything is good. And before just coming to the program, I've got this information that I'm investigating. I'm not surprised. You guys remember the trip Barrow wanted to take from to Dubai, and I broke the comments back by revealing some of these things, and there were some businessmen involved. And part of the trip, there were many facets, there were many actors in that trip, and certain things they wanted to do with some of the Emirates. It's not Dubai itself, but some of the Emirati states. They even had an advanced party that went to work some of these things. It was to live well for NAWEC. Concession of giving them very cheaply or free. You know, the Jawara days you heard about that this thing, and Jammeh had the same deal in Nigeria. Now they are working with Nigeria, trying to get some fuel from Nigeria. Because of the NAWEC problem, as I said, they're not telling you part of it is fuel. The fuel economy. Their accounts are gone back to rent. It's just gone. Now, they are working on trying to get fuel from Nigeria, technically for free. Now, they're trying to put this through certain business people, the same business people that went and are supporting Barrow. And there's an amount of money. They promise that if they sell the fuel to NAWEC, they are going to pump into Barrow for his campaign. I am not naming their names yet. There are certain things we want to ascertain. But we have ascertained to the fact that the project is in existence. Certain things we just want to clear. Now, what I'm asking is, and I'm stating it here, if it comes out, don't say you never knew about this. And this is the reason we put it out. We want to agitate it to stop it. We want to agitate it to get more information. We want to agitate it so that people will understand that if it comes out, we have talked at the position of strength that we knew about it, and this is what's happening. We made that allegations and it's confirmed. Now, why the trip to Dubai, you don't hear about the trip again. It says they suspended. Never. How many months now? Because why did the trip to Dubai did not materialize? One of the components of the trip was smuggling. They were smuggling diamonds and gold through Barrow's entourage. Yes, I'm saying it here. And Barrow knows that the government finally knew about it because we helped them even to know. They didn't have a clue, the people around them. And they knew if they had gone to Dubai with that, the government would have been embarrassed. We did that favor to them by blowing the whistle out. That's why the trip did not materialize. But there were other components in the trip. And this is the reason to we bringing this out. Because the fuel given to Nigeria, if it happens, will become completely free or very low cost. And these are bandits, call themselves businessmen. And yes, they are Gambians. These people are Gambians who want to make money out of the people and to give Barrow for campaign so that they can sustain Barrow and continue robbing us. Guys, the program have to end here. I've took longer than planned, and we'll come back again when we're available. But as I said, because of the outrage of what's been going on, but what I witnessed today on live video when Flex Dan was doing the video, people that come on late to this program can follow it from the beginning. That was the reason we registering this making note of this on record, and we'll continue. And the revelations we have about the fuel they're trying to lift from Nigeria to is something we want to agitate, and the land been taken from the old bike track in Palmarima, the Girac project, and others. I'll tell you, there's so many going on. And you know, the ferry services, we have never touched that. That's another scam that's going on. And these people are doing a wholesale thing. December, they push it. Because Barrow realizes they're not even lose. And these people realize Barrow is going to lose. In fact, they're trying to push certain things so that they will get their papers or whatever it is to hold on to it for the next government come to have a problem with them. Thank you guys, and I hope and wish the opposition listen, because we cannot rely on the media to sensitize. Now is the campaign period. Let the opposition go out there and campaign and put the facts out there for people to decide. Give people the information to decide. Let's stop the campaign of resting on the party leader what it says. Yes, overview, he can say things, but we should see people within political campaigns to tell us, people that have the technical know-how, people who understand about these things, about investment, about lands, about water, about energy, about all these things, and how your party is going to bring about the change and fulfill it. It's not about, yes, the manifesto, 5 points, 10 points, transformation, Gonga, and everything is fine. But the people cannot get that, bring it down practically to them. What exactly going to do about these things that affect them, about education for their kids, how it affects them, and how you're going to deal with it. Thank you very much, guys, and have a good day. Thank you.